Hi friends, welcome all of you to the topic of gingiva. As you all know, gingiva is a vast subject. There are a lot of aspects we need to cover. But today's video I am going to cover only the anatomy of the gingiva. So before we need to understand the anatomy, we have to see what is oral mucosa. Oral mucosa has three parts. One is the masticatory mucosa, the other is specialized, then the oral mucous membrane lining the remainder of the oral cavity. So this masticatory mucosa are the gingiva and covering of hard palate. These two helps in the masticatory process. That is why this is called as the masticatory mucosa. Specialized mucosa is the dorsum of the tongue. So what is gingiva? So gingiva has three parts. First one is the marginal gingiva, then second is the attached gingiva, and the third one is the interdental gingiva. Then we need to understand what is marginal gingiva. This is the terminal edge or border of gingiva that surrounds the teeth in a collar-like fashion. We know this marginal gingiva is just above the teeth, that is near the teeth. See, if you see this picture, you will understand better that this is the marginal gingiva, and below that you can see the free gingival groove. This can be seen only in the 50% of individual. See, this is the free gingival groove is seen about 50% cases, demarcated from the adjacent attached gingiva by a shallow linear depression. Then we need to understand what is gingival sulcus. This is the gingival sulcus part. So this is the shallow crevice around the tooth. This is V-shaped, and this gingival sulcus depth in normal individual is 1.8 mm. And histologic depth of sulcus doesn't need to be exactly the pocket depth. Pocket depth is usually 2 to 3 mm. So this is the marginal gingiva, and this is the sulcus. I'll explain you just in a easy manner so that you will get to know the parts easily. So this is marginal gingiva, this is attached gingiva. Can you see this part? It ends with the mucogingival junction, and this attached gingiva has the retapix. This can you see this curly part? This is the attached gingiva. This is the retapix. They are tightly attached to the connective tissue. But when you see the sulcular epithelium, this is the sulcular epithelium, that is a straight line. There are no retapix in the sulcular epithelium. So this retapix helps to attach the connective tissue very tightly. And when you want to see the next we will see the attached gingiva. Attached gingiva is continuous with the marginal gingiva. You can see, it is continuous with the marginal gingiva. They are firm, resilient, and tightly bound to underlying periosteum of alveolar bone. It is very tightly attached because of the retapix. And facial aspect of attached gingiva extend to relatively loose and movable alveolar mucosa, that is mucogingival junction. By this way, you can measure the width of attached gingiva because this mucogingival junction is very loosely attached. So in that way, we can measure the width of attached gingiva by rolling method, and other measurement criteria are there. I am not going in detail regarding that. So width of attached gingiva, that is between the mucogingival junction and the projection on the external surface of the bottom of the gingival sulcus or periodontal pocket. So this is the bottom of gingival sulcus. So it is width of attached gingiva we will measure by the distance between this bottom of the gingival sulcus to the mucogingival junction. So these area are the attached gingiva. Usually upper incisor have the attached gingiva, or the measurement of attached gingiva on the upper incisor is 3.5 to 5 mm, and lower incisor is 3.3 to 3.9, and upper molar is 1.9 mm and lower molar is 1.8 mm, that is the least width. Then this width of attached gingiva decrease with the bone resorption, and that can increase with age and supraeruption. This is when the case of supraeruption comes, what will happen is that the tooth will shift apically, so the attached gingiva will be more. The width of the attached gingiva will be more. So 2 mm of width of attached gingiva is actually necessary for a healthy periodontium. So I told you just now, this attached gingiva this marginal gingiva has red apex. So they are tightly attached to the connective tissue, but at the same time sulcular epithelium is not tightly attached. So there is a permeability. So, because of that, you know, the GCF, the gingival clavicular fluid, sweeps out from the sulcular epithelium to the sulcus. In that way, they flush out the bacteria or any other foreign bodies that is planning to enter into the inside the epithelium. So that is the thing. Then next is, we need to understand what is normal sulcus depth. That is, from this is the sulcular depth, that is normally 1.8 mm. If that goes up to 4 mm, we will call this as the clinical depth. But above 4 mm is considered as pocket depth. So above 4 mm we will not call as the clinical depth, we will call as the pocket depth. So this is the gingival sulcus depth. Then what is junctional epithelium? So I am not going to detail about junctional epithelium, that I will talk later. So this is the junctional epithelium. So this, from this part, this area to this area is the junctional epithelium. Usually the junctional epithelium distance is normally 1.09 mm, and from the bottom of the junctional epithelium to the crest of the alveolar bone, so this distance is usually 1 mm. So overall, when we measure from this area to this area is 2.9 mm, that is the junctional epithelium plus this distance, 1 mm distance. So this overall area is known as the biological width. So this has to be maintained. We should not violate this biological width. So while doing crown preparation and all, if we violate this biological width, what will happen is bone resorption occur. So this has to maintain. So that is really important when you do a crown preparation or any other procedure. The next is the interdental gingiva. You know, interdental gingiva occupies the gingival embrasure. What is gingival embrasure? This is the interproximal space beneath the area of tooth contact. This can be pyramidal or cone shape. See, pyramidal will be like this. The cone shape would be like this. No, if there is a diastema case or anything like that, if there is more space between the two teeth, then we will see this as a caul shaped interdental gingiva. So this anterior portion, anterior teeth usually is the pyramidal shape, and posterior teeth usually caul shape. Here there is no space. Anterior teeth means there is no space. Usually this is keratinized gingiva, whereas the posterior teeth in between non-keratinized area can be seen. That's why the posterior teeth are more vulnerable to the periodontal diseases. So these are all about the anatomy of gingiva, and in the next coming video I am going to discuss the microscopic features like the epithelium and connective tissue. So you can see the keratinocytes, stratified squamous epithelium, keratinization. So all these part I am going to discuss in the next video. So you watch that video too, and if you have any doubt or anything, you please do write in the comment section so that I can answer you. Thank you.